Welcome to the Natural Healing Reel, the podcast that heals. Today, I have a special guest, of course. Her name is Faith Streng. Did I say that correctly? I have a thing with pronouncing everybody's names.
I appreciate that. It's Faith Streng, so no TH on the end. Yeah.
Right. So when I first read your name, I went, Faith Streng. That's a cool name because it was attached to the healing. So I'll just think of you as Strength.
I accept.
Awesome. So we're going to have a discussion today about your whole journey through being a third generation psychic, really, right? Like your whole family lineage has had full experiences in this whole area. And you're going to explain all of that to us. What is a psychic, really?
I love that you're starting off with this question. And that is something I have spent a lot of time thinking about, a lot of time embracing that word, understanding what is the resistance that I've had or other people have to that word. And even though we might, think of Cleo or some other, psychic you might see on the side of the road, which is beautiful. There's nothing wrong with that. But ultimately, to pare it down, being psychic is being intuitive, which means you are attuned to the subtle energies around you. We know that we don't see everything with our eyes. We know we don't hear everything with our ears. And when we accept that and we instead tune into what our extra senses are giving us, the information we're getting from them, that's when we tune into these other experiences. And ultimately, it really comes down to everything is energy. And how can you relax enough to tune into those more subtle energy fields that are surrounding us all of the time?
Right. And they do say that a lot of our sensories, like what we're seeing and, smelling or whatever, is really just a small little fraction of what's actually going on around us. So everybody can tap into this ability.
Absolutely. Yes. Everyone is intuitive. Some people come into this world a little more open than others. And we know most of us live in a society that is really encouraging of us to live softer, slower lives. We are overstimulated. We are overbusy. We're overworking. We're bombarded with screens and noise. And as we start to pare that back and then also engage in some healing practices, removing the fears we have, it becomes easier and our natural state of being, our natural way of living, to be in harmony with these energies that are ultimately loving and supportive of us all of the time.
Yeah. So we were talking about the fact that you do these retreats and Sedona and Mount Shasta, and those are really powerful, energetic places. I have driven past Mount Shasta, but I actually spent a long weekend, Easter long weekend, full moon, doing an intuitive women's retreat there. And wowzers, it was pretty great, pretty powerful.
Yeah. Mount Shasta is amazing. I had never been there before when I was called to do a retreat there, but I just knew I had to go deep in my heart, and she did not disappoint. That is a magical place. All land is sacred, but that is a really potently healing place to go. And anybody who's listening to this is your sign to find a way to go to Mount Shasta, because she is incredible.
Yeah. So talk to us about your retreats. What does that look like when you're doing those? So if somebody wanted to come in and hang out with you and go to a retreat in one of those places, what would we be doing?
So I call they are spiritual adventure retreats. As a grid worker, I am called to specific places on the planet. I just listen to my intuition. My intuition tells me what specific land would be most healing for me to visit, for me to hold space and bring groups there in order to both give back to the land and to receive from the land, as well as the culture and the people. It's very important to me that as I'm booking and giving money into these places, that the money is going into the communities. And these have proven to be incredibly transformative. When I did my first retreat in Sedona, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just like, this is just the next thing to do. And after 4 or 5 days, I think that one was maybe 4 days, I could not believe the changes and the breakthroughs that had happened for people on these retreats. So now there is always, when we go to these places, I last year I did a retreat in Mexico in San Miguel de Allende. I did a retreat in Ireland, which we'll be going back to next spring. And it's important for me to give people an opportunity to be immersed in something new, first and foremost. Then we'll be engaging in meditations and psychic readings. We'll be doing workshops in Ireland. It was the Celtic Fairy Retreat, so it was all about fairies and working with the magic of the land. And then in Mexico, it was more about psychic awakening. So we were having a lot of conversations around energy protection. What are your unique psychic gifts? How do we open them up? Definitely taking excursions, different places, land offerings, land honorings. I'm always eager to connect with elders from the areas that we are visiting as well to receive the wisdom that they have. And also fun. That's really important to me. There has to be a lot of rest and there has to be a lot of fun, because that is where so much of the medicine is, and time to watch these people as they really bond and become very close in a very short amount of time, and having opportunities for soul-seeking people to come together into a sacred place. There is something that is intangible but long-lasting medicine that happens. And I know at this point that it's really beyond me in a lot of ways. Like, I know what I'm doing and I'm heeding this call and I'm putting things together, but I know ultimately what happens feels like there is so much more guidance there. If I could do retreats all the time, I absolutely would. And I have people who come back, over and over again, which is just amazing and such an honor to me. But so they are a beautiful blend of rest, spiritual awakening, and fun. That's how I describe them.
Oh, it sounds amazing. Sounds magical.
It's very magical. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And is it often? It sounds like, that's a lot of places that you're going to. And I love that it's all over the world. Like,
yes.
Ireland, Mexico, like that's really,
yes.
for different places that you're tapping into there.
Yes. I do this year I'm doing one, next year I'll do two. So I'm doing on average about 2 a year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Mm-hmm. And then other than that, are you doing work like over Zoom?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So tell me about, like, you're doing lots of past life type healing. Is that really what's happening there? Yeah.
Yes, that's really the basis of my work and kind of where I start. That's how people often find me. And then as things continued to evolve for me, I realized that what I was doing was so much more than just Akashic Records readings, but that is the foundation of what I do. And then kind of everything else that needs to be revealed or wants to be cleared or explored comes from what we find in the Akashic Records in a session. Mm-hmm.
And for those who don't know about Akashic Records, explanation.
Yeah, I describe the Akashic Records as the iCloud of everything that has ever existed, everything that ever will exist, everything that's been thought. Some people refer to it or see it as a library. I modernize it, say it's an iCloud, and it's this energetic space that, again, everyone has the ability to tap into. Some people are just more attuned than others. And all of the answers can be found in the Akashic Records. I very much believe that, from why do I have this weird relationship to my sister? Why do I struggle with money? Why do I have this health issue that doctors can't seem to figure out? Why do I live the place that I live? All of these answers can be found in your soul's journey, which is so much bigger and meaningful than what happens in this tiny blip that we call a life in this particular time space reality.
And there's so many stories that I've heard of people who had health issues that when they did tap in with somebody like yourself, who was able to walk them through past lives that they had been through, there was something traumatic that, maybe they died a certain way or they were shot in the stomach, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And once that's seen, and they actually come to that awareness themselves through guidance, right? So it's not like telling them, right? So
Right.
yeah, which is amazing. So you're guiding somebody through past lives, and then to find that there was this, death or this tragedy that happened, and then how it disappears. Like once it's looked at, it's then all of a sudden a lifetime of pain is now not there. Wow.
Yeah. That certainly can happen. I'm always very clear to let people know that A, I'm not a doctor, and B, that, things can be different from person to person. But, and if there's not one thing or a series of things that created this trauma in the body that's created this thing, there are so many other things that can create resistance to healing. There are so many other things that can make us feel helpless, make us feel like a victim, make us feel like people aren't supporting us, like we're alone, that we're not worthy. And when we go in and explore all these things and shed a light on them, that allows new, fresh, divine energy to be realized within the self. So even if we're not in a position where we are able to align with the healing on our own, it puts you into a space of manifesting the help you need to get to the next level of healing for yourself. Right. And health has been a very important part of my journey as well. I actually had a total hip replacement a couple years ago due to a birth abnormality. And so I am in the spiritual realm of feeling very strongly that there are places for all forms of medicine. There was no way I was going to manifest myself a new hip, or physical therapy wasn't going to help, right? I needed Western medicine. And so I do get a lot of clients who are in that space, who are trying to sort through all of the information out there on what's my responsibility, what do I accept, what can I heal, and we, through all of the modalities I do, find peace in that space, whatever it is for them. And what I do is a little bit different from past life regression, where you would put someone in a meditation and they do just, see what they see. My modality is a little more assertive, with the understanding that we've had so many past lives, we can't count them. And so let's just go in and see what it is and look at it. What's the issue? And let's clear it away. So it is me clairvoyantly seeing the past lives and bringing out what are the limiting beliefs remaining as a result of this. And it's amazing. Over Zoom, in person, it doesn't matter. People will cry. People will have sensations in their body. People will start to laugh. People will see things themselves, because this is a shared space that we are tapping into. And all of these memories live in the body. And to circle back to your point, it really is, as it is for us in this lifetime around trauma, just talking about it, just seeing it, that's where so much of the healing comes from, right? Just expressing it, just shining a light on it. And that I find to be, the most important piece of this work.
Yeah, because when you can see it, then you can heal it, right? Because we don't know what it is that's going on, right? And we're, out there in the clouds, we're not in here. We're looking for it out here somewhere, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's really cool. So you actually clairvoyantly are helping. Okay. Well, so that's really cool. I don't know about that.
Thank you. I did not know that I was able to do that. That was something new that came online for me as I started devoting myself and really feeling this calling to do this work, and realized that I didn't need the charts and the pendulum that my mother and grandmother used, because my own psychic abilities were coming online in that way. And so in a 60-minute session with me, I might see 1 to 6 different lifetimes for a client. And there's always more when we open up our understanding to parallel lives, lives on other planets, then this work is important to keep doing. You keep going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And past life regression is amazing. I've done it. I recommend my clients do it. If there's a lifetime that's a little bit sticky, you want to go deeper, like go do that. That's amazing. But if you're just like ready, if people come to me, they are ready. They are sick of suffering. They are sick of living in pain. They are sick of living in separation. So let's just get there. Let's just do it. Let's just do the clearing so we can live the lives that we are here to live as joyful and deliberate creators of our experience in oneness with each other as much as possible and with the forces that surround us and move through us all the time.
So I have many relationships in my life, not right at this moment in the present, but that have no belief in that we have other lifetimes. Mm-hmm. And it's so, like, to me, it's just a knowing. And so it's so difficult to try to explain something like that to somebody who, are they just not ready? If somebody's, mm-hmm. they're just not ready to have a look at that, or like, what is that?
It's programming, right? You know, it's old programming, religious programming from generations and generations. But the two things that I will say to people who are in that space is looking at past lives is nothing new. They're written about in the mystical aspects of every major world religion, including Christianity. And at this point, there are countless BuzzFeed articles out there from children about stories about children who remember their other lifetimes. And if you look at that and then you read information from people who've had near-death experiences, there's often a lot of crossover there. And so you can present that information to people. And then if people do one session with me, they will believe in past lives, because what comes up are just repetitions of patterns and things that all of a sudden just make sense as to why your life is the way that it is. Nothing comes out of a vacuum. You know, I'll say that looking at our own lives without looking at our other lifetimes is like opening a novel in the beginning, opening a novel in the middle and skipping the beginning. It doesn't make sense. And as you go back and you look, you go, oh my gosh, like everything has been the next chapter, and the next chapter, and the next chapter, and the next chapter. But there are souls who have been around longer and souls who have been around a shorter amount of time. There's no judgment. It's not better or worse. It's just the way that it is. And so as souls age, they become more open to these more spiritual concepts. And so if people aren't there in this lifetime, that's okay. They'll get there eventually. Everybody does. Everybody does in their own way, in one way or another.
So they'd be like a young soul.
They could be. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because my dad was actually one of them. I was talking about it the other day, because when he passed, I didn't know where he was. You know what I mean? And so I saw a medical medium, and he came through, and I was like, you know, the grieving stopped that day, and that's what it was, because I knew he was good. Like he was, he knew. Yeah. Now he knew. Yep. Right?
Yeah.
There's so much healing that comes with that work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that it's interesting that you're talking about, opening it up in the middle of the book, because when we're stuck, like I know for myself, just the patterns, right? And you think that you've looked at it, you've dealt with it, and you move on, only to just be back into it again. In some deeper way of, I don't know, it's so crazy. But I think that if we're looking at our past lives, maybe there's some answers there to help get out of the pattern.
Yeah, absolutely. There absolutely is. And what I find is that we all have certain patterns or belief systems that from the beginning of our karmic cycle, we have chosen to learn through. And when we are able to see that piece, even beyond any particular past life or past lives, then we are able to grow beyond the opportunities that it's given, we finally get the big lesson, right? Which is usually worthiness, which is, interconnection, which is self-love, which is abundance in all ways. And that's when we finally detangle the deepest things that have been following us forever, that we all have that experience. Oh, I thought I healed this. Why is this coming up again? And when we can dig out what I call creator programming, then that's when we feel the massive, massive, massive shifts. And so if that pattern comes up again, we're going like, oh, I see you. I know exactly what I need to do. I know exactly what I need to believe. I know exactly what this hang up is. And you can move past it much, much more quickly. And then eventually it just completely dissolves.
Right, because you're able to see it.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And so you're talking about this, our spirit guides and like who's with us and stuff. Can you share some of that information?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love to. So I remember listening to an Abraham Hicks video once, and they were talking about the inner being. And I wanted to know more. Like, all right, I know about angels, I know about guardian angels, but I know about spirit guides, ancestors, like who makes up the inner being? I'm a constant student. I want to learn, I want to know. And so as I opened up that door, what I found, and all psychics are different. So this is what has come through to me. So we all have an angel squad of 20 to 30 angels. I don't know why that's the number, but Spirit keeps telling me that's the number. And the older soul you are, the more angels you have, because you need more, you've been through more, you feel things more deeply. We have a guardian angel that we usually have some kind of karmic or soulmate relationship with. We have spirit guides, which to me can change, and they appear as these exaggerated aspects of help that we need. They might appear as a giant. They might appear as, a funny little quirky elf character if we're trying to bring more joy into our lives. And so I usually see those being around 2 to 3 at a time. And then we have ancestors. The majority of people have ancestors. Some people actually who have felt very disconnected from their family sometimes don't, but that's pretty rare. And the more ancestors who are available to you is a sign that you are doing more generational healing in this lifetime. We also have ascended masters. We all have an assigned ascended master, as well as being able to work with the other ascended masters in groups or individually. And these are souls who walked the planet, attained the level of ascension. They cleared all their karma, but instead of going home and retiring in the, etheric retreat in the sky, they've decided to stick around and help the rest of us. And these are some names we know, a lot of names we don't know. Of course, people like Jesus, Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, Saint Francis, Saint Germain, and so many others. So we have the ascended masters as well. Then we also have archangels we can work with. And we also have elemental beings who are beings like fairies, dragon, unicorn, elves, who I also was, to my utter surprise, began working with and has become an important part of my business as well. And then we have star beings. We have high frequency star families who live on other planets, who are invested in what happens on Earth, because what happens on Earth affects the rest of the universe, because they are the spiritual laws of the universe, not just the spiritual laws of Earth. And they are investing their time and wisdom to us as well, if we are open to receiving it. So we are not dropped off on Earth to fend for ourselves, not even a little bit. And the more we open up to these beings, and I found working with them individually, letting my clients know who's there, it helps them to open up and heal in all these ways. But having this distinct and identified support team just really changes the game for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, I think that there's so many people that totally feel alone. They just don't feel supported. And you're saying that we have all of the support, but we're just not aware. We're not tapped into it.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll say that if you're having a really bad day, I call them my angel babies. And that's kind of, I put everybody into the group. I'll say, angel babies, I cannot see you and I cannot hear you, but I would really like to feel you. And you just get quiet and you just take a breath and you will feel something. Maybe you'll feel something in your stomach. Maybe it's just a moment of peace. A song comes on the radio, a bird flies by, you feel a little breeze on your cheek, even though you're in your car and there's no breeze, right? When we focus on the feeling of things, it's easier to access their love and their attention. And remembering over and over and over again every single day that just because I can't see them or I can't hear them or I can't feel them doesn't mean they're not there. And that's what faith is, right?
Right.
And when we nurture faith enough, it becomes an anchored in feeling that cannot be swayed.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a real understanding and experience of that over the last bunch of years. And, as, falling on my knees, not having any faith, not having any understanding about anybody. I mean, I knew that there's God, but I didn't know what God was. Do you know what I mean? I just had no relationship. And I believe probably was put through the multiple trauma that was happening in such an intense way to bring me to that understanding. And I now have relationship, and it's incredible when you ask, you're given. And it's so crazy how that happens. And then once, you start playing around with that, how fun that is. It's like, when you can't find something and then you ask, right, show me, right? I know it's here. I know my subconscious, I know, right? And then all of a sudden, boom, there it is, right? And yeah, just there's so much fun that you can have learning this. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tuning in to the energy and letting it be playful because it is supposed to be playful. Energy is playful. And the human experience generally is one of not coming to this understanding until you've been through enough trauma that you drop to your knees and you say, I cannot do this anymore. And people either get to that point or they just continue to suffer in whatever way it is. But when you break finally and your heart cracks open, which is what trauma and grief, they do for us, then it rushes in. And then you find yourself in a position just by living that you are role modeling and helping other people, which that is the pattern we're supposed to follow, right? We go through trauma, we heal the trauma, and then we're in a position to hold space for other people as they are navigating through what they're navigating through. And once that connection is there with spirit, the universe, God, your angels, whatever you want to call it, right? Then everything becomes easier. Because when we feel stuck and brainwashed and I'm separate, I'm alone, you can't do it. You cannot find happiness if you feel like you are separated from the whole. It's impossible. It's impossible. It's scary. It's terrifying. Can I swear on this podcast?
Absolutely.
It is fucking terrifying, right?
Yes.
And it's generally not until we are pushed and everybody in a different way that we finally go, okay, I surrender. Because everybody's soul somehow knows you can resist it, you can resist it as much as you want to. And if you resist it in this life, that's fine. You'll get it another lifetime. I deeply believe that the human brain, the human body, the human spirit knows there is more because everything is energy. Everything is energy. And when you learn how to play with that energy, to co-create with that energy, that then you have more evidence than you ever even thought possible that, oh, okay, right? We are all co-creators, right? And that I am a reflection of this thing that I was told to believe in or I thought I believed in, but now I know in a real way, I am not just a part of it. I am a reflection of it. I am the exact same as this thing. And that's when things get really juicy. Yeah.
Yes. And that's a big pill to swallow, isn't it? for a lot of
Yeah.
people, that whole I
Yeah.
am, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is yeah, we're all part of the whole, and it's just so we just see us as being so separate, and what's wrong with that person? Do you know what I mean? We're
Right.
so in that space as a society that this paradigm is, I mean, it's when you awaken to it, it's so great. So
Yeah.
great. It's so
Yeah. So expansive, so beautiful. And to be able to move through the world and realize, oh, I'm doing that thing, I'm judging again, whether I'm judging myself or I'm judging that other person, and to go, okay, wait, what is this person that I'm being triggered by? What are they reflecting about myself? What aspect am I ashamed of, or do I not like in myself that I'm seeing in this other person? Because that's what it's all really about, right? And then how can I do that deeper healing myself, which then makes us more compassionate,
yeah,
right? And then coming back into that, we are in a hive mind. We are one big amoeba, and it's just brings so much more color and depth to the experience. But you can't push someone who's not there. You cannot push them. You cannot open the door for them. You cannot give them enough books. You cannot do a healing session. People have to get to it on their own time. And all you can do is say, I'm here if you want to talk about it. I love you. I accept you for who you are. And if you want to have the conversations, I'm here. I'm going to live by example and show you what's possible. But I accept you. You will just get here on your own soul's time. And that's okay.
absolutely. I think that's really a big turnoff for people with religion per se, and right is that the push of of the fear. If you don't have this, or if you're not doing this, then you're going to hell. Like, what is that? Anyway, it's not that. It's not that at all.
No. No, not even close, not even a little bit. And that is a belief that comes from a desire for power, not from those people, but from the people who created those systems, who are reaping the benefits of that system. And it is a dying system. It cannot survive in the awakening and the influx of old souls and support that are happening on this planet at this time. And those are young soul beliefs. Yeah.
Isn't that such a blessing? That I can see that coming down as well right now. The shift is actually happening. It really is. It's so exciting.
Yes, it is. And people have their fears, they have their concerns about the future. And I'm just like, look at the children who are being born now. I mean, there are still lines around the Milky Way to be born on Earth at this time, because it is still such a place of growth and expansion and learning. And we see generation after generation, the collective, this isn't a judgment on any individual souls, but the collective age of souls has gotten older and older and older at a very rapid rate since the turn of the 1900s. And we see children who are being born now, like these are very old souls. These are very high frequency beings who are still here to learn and grow. They still have things to learn. But if these children are the future, I mean, we are in good hands. We are in good hands. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Yes, they are very different. They're very wise. Right? Right. Yeah. I have some youngins and they're incredible. It's like, yeah, they're just awake.
Yeah, they just know things and they just feel things, and it's like they're just channeling. And now that we have adults, that therapy is a lot more common, right? People are falling in love and talking about astrology and crystals and even past lives and tarot in new ways that are exciting. We're seeing it in Hollywood. We're seeing it, at ground levels that they have the support they need to grow in now the next level of growth for humans, which is where they will be taking us, which is very exciting. And we're all here to usher them in. You and we paved the way for this space to be opening and welcoming to these souls, even though on a surface level it doesn't seem like it, but it absolutely is.
Yeah, we're here at such an incredible time. Like this time that we're here, is monumental time. It'll be one of the biggest times written about in our history, I believe. And so if you are here, then yeah, you're here for a reason. To help take us to the next. Yeah, I really feel that. I just know that's, I mean, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, there could be a lot of fear there too, because of the unknown, but everything's unknown, right? And really we are the creators, right? So if we can shift to that positive, higher frequency, then we can, create what it is that we want to have.
Right. Yeah. And we are learning to create the idea of manifestation. Again, nothing new. That's what every great spiritual teacher has ever talked about throughout time: as above, so below, as within, so without. That it gets a lot of flack because people say it. Some of the feedback can be it's selfish. You just want new cars, you just want new houses, when we know that's not what it's about. You're manifesting joy, you're manifesting peace, you're manifesting healthy relationships. And we're doing it individually so that more and more people will come in to do it collectively. Because when we manifest collectively, that's when we see massive, massive, massive shifts. And we are living at a time when more than ever, we are being pushed into a corner to say, do you choose love or do you choose fear? Because it is up to you. And if you don't have a spiritual practice, you don't have a mindfulness practice, a meditation practice, you will be suffering. There is no doubt. Because you develop a spiritual practice so that when the shit hits the fan, you can rely on it. And somehow, some way, everything is always working out for me. It actually doesn't matter what the government's doing. It doesn't matter what my family's doing. Right now, not everybody's in a space to believe this, and that's fine. These are not things that everybody is available for, and that's totally fine. But those of us who have this understanding of energy, who've been on a spiritual journey for some time, we know the most important thing is that I am shining my light. And that I am sharing my unique gifts unapologetically, and that I am following my joy. And by doing so, I'm inviting other people to do the same. And if I want to participate in the political process, if I want to be a teacher, if I want to be, a healer for money, that's fine, as long as I'm doing it with love. But the most important thing is to know I am here for a reason. I am unique. I am special. Doesn't take away from your specialness or your specialness, right? It actually encourages you to open up and say, fuck it, I'm fucking special too. Yes, you are. And as all these lights are just waking up and blinking all over the world, the earth is eventually going to be so bright. And that's what takes us into higher dimensions of living, which, we're seeing the last claws of trying to drag us down into these lower densities, but they can't win. Fear won't win. Fear will never win. Even if it, gains traction for a short amount of time, when we're again looking at time from the beginning of time to the end of time, love will always win. Love will always, always win.
Yeah, I always have this analogy of, the room's dark, and if you flick on the light, it's not dark anymore. Like the light always wins. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Light and love. And that's all there is, right? There's love and there's fear. And it's choice, right? And they're saying that you need to choose. That we're at that time in our evolution where we need to make a choice. And that's what it is, right? So choose love.
Yeah. Right? And sometimes that can be easier said than done. But if you are just open and willing, if you're just willing to choose love, if you just want to choose love, if you're like, I'm listening to this fucking podcast, I'm afraid, I'm so freaked out, I don't know what to do, I don't have any spiritual tools, they're talking about this, like, what do I do? If you have a desire to choose love, Spirit will show you how. Yeah. Right? All you need is, I would like to see this differently. And if you're just open to it, a YouTube video will be sent to you. You'll have a conversation. You'll see something on Netflix. You'll hear a song that will give you the next tool you need to help you rewire your mind. You know, there's no way around. That's also what's happening. It is brain chemistry. It is neurons firing in certain patterns for years and years and years. And it's a gentle process and it doesn't happen overnight. But if the desire is there and you open the door, you will find success. And in X amount of time, you will be able to go, oh my God, even in the face of all these other people around me who are freaking out, I feel great and I feel safe and things are still working out for me. And I'm having joyful experiences and moments and I feel good and healthy and strong. And the more people who are willing to feel good and healthy and strong, no matter in whatever circumstance they're able to, the better off we'll all be, right? And of course, whatever your circumstances are, we're just doing our best. You know, all we want is to choose something that's a little bit better, a little bit, not better, a little bit softer than the fear maybe that we've been living in. And everybody's different and everybody has different circumstances. So we want to honor that. But if you have the intention, Spirit will show you the way.
Yeah, and it's a choice, and you have to intend it, right? Like there's that practice of, in the morning. Today I intend to have a great day, right?
Right.
And asking for help, right? Like that is so big, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you can feel it. You can feel whenever I get in my car, right? I always ask for covering, I just it's just a quick little thought, right? That's all it takes. It doesn't take time. It's just a thought, right? And then all of a sudden you're covered and you're supported. And I definitely feel divinely protected, like through the path that I walked and the fact that I'm still standing. I know that I'm divinely protected.
Yeah.
And so really grateful for that. But those are all choices that I was really working hard on choosing through dark days.
You made a choice to believe that you were being protected and guided. And when you did that every single day, it didn't become a fight for you. And now it's really easy and you feel that and you see evidence of it all the time because it's a muscle and you worked that muscle and it became an unequivocal, undeniable truth. And it is true for everyone, but until we can get ourselves aligned with it and we incorporate a practice that allows us to feel that way, it feels really far away and we doubt it. But when we face it head on, then it just becomes a part of our daily life, which again, when you feel like you're doing it alone and you're embarrassed to ask for help, you've been programmed not to ask for help, it's too hard. And if you are just willing to say, I need help. Like, I need some fucking help. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if I need angels or people or what, but I just know I can't do this alone. Please, I'm open to receive. And if that's your prayer, help will come.
It does. And like you said, it comes in way of a podcast or overhearing a conversation or really incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. The universe will move mountains to give you what you need. Everybody has at least one story of, I can't believe that happened. What are the chances? Nothing is an accident. Nothing is a coincidence. The universe arranged things for you and anybody else who was involved for that experience to happen. If you believe in God, if you believe in the universe, then you are believing in a limitless energy. Limitless. If you believe that God can do this, but God can't do this, then you are limiting energy. You are limiting God. And so if you say you believe in God, if you say believe in the universe, like believe all the way. Believe that there are solutions in every possible way because God knows there are solutions in every possible way that we haven't even thought about yet. And as long as we, again, are open and have an intention, then that allows this energy to move through us in really delightful and surprising ways.
Yeah, I think too, right, to have, people like yourself, to be able to have that kind of access for support, to at this day and age. We need that. Like, we need the medical doctors, like for your hip, for a broken arm, for your heart, whatever, right? We need that. And the whole medication thing is a whole other bag of wax that needs to be dealt with. But to have this spiritual assistance, right? This information from people like yourselves because so many people don't know. They don't know. They know that they need some more support, but they don't know how to get it. They don't know what that is even. And it's really, really cool to have, people like yourself doing this stuff and supporting. And I don't know, I love it. It was really cool stuff. Yeah.
Thank you. I think it's cool stuff too.
It is. It's just, it's just such a different day, right? Like, I mean, if you were talking about this, 20 years ago, even, it was kind of, you'd have to just only talk to a very select few, right? And now people they're more open, and they're actually like, it helps. You get so much support and guidance, and it's pretty great.
Yeah, there are so many healers out there doing so many different modalities. Because of technology, we have access to so much. We're able to, absorb ancient knowledge and texts and theories that we haven't ever before. And humans are complicated. Humans are multidimensional beings. And so we require help in a lot of different ways at different times of our lives. And this is the time where no matter what you're dealing with, there is someone who can help you. Absolutely. Absolutely. And as we coming out of, the age of, reason, the age of logic, the age of science, the age of technology. And now we're coming to this time when we understand, oh, wait, spirituality and science aren't separate. Like, they're working together. And it's actually important for me to have a spiritual practice, whatever that looks like to me, whether, again, that's sitting and connecting to nature, or having an altar for my ancestors, but just time to reconnect, and having people in your life who can help you identify the higher perspective of what's going on, whatever it is for you. That is invaluable, because we all have blind spots. I have blind spots, right? I can't see everything. And so we need other people to reflect that to me. And I love that there are so many people who are doing similar things. I mean, there's nobody who's doing exactly what I'm doing, and there's nobody who's doing exactly what anybody else is doing, because everyone is unique in bringing.
Isn't that cool? Isn't that
yes.
great? There's so many different modalities, and one person's going to click, and you're going to go, that's it. I need to see that person. I need to connect.
Yeah. There's someone for everyone. There's someone for everyone.
Yeah. I get to interview people like yourself, and it blows me away what's going on out there in the world. Like, it's just, people are healing themselves all over the place, all over the place. And, it's really an amazing time. Yeah. And I think it's probably always been like that, but for some reason, I think we fell asleep, for I'm not sure how many years, but like you said, your mom, your grandfather, right? We're all tapped into this energy healing field. And just like we as individuals need to go through dark times in order to remember who we really are, we as a species had to go through a dark time in order to taste the utter joy of remembering, not only individually, but also collectively. This is a collective thing that's happening. And there's no stopping it. And again, you're right. It's not that miracles and healing and energy work haven't been happening all over the world since the beginning of time. But and because
to look at, different cultures around the world, indigenous populations, they haven't lost this, right? It's really us in the West, as we've, taken over the world, tried to, that it's just become so pervasive. And now, that other softer, that older truth is coming back to the surface, along with new information that's coming through from our star friends, and as these different souls are being born on the planet. And so it is something new that has never happened before on Earth. And there's never been this many people on Earth before either. So there's so much more energy on this planet than ever before. So that also lends itself to monumental expansion. And even if we don't see it in our lifetime, it's not slowing down. It's not going to stop. And we are setting the stage for the paradise that is going to be Earth in like 150 years. That's what I think. That's what I think. Yeah.
So I love that you're just sharing that, because everything's contrast, right? We wouldn't know it's a great sunny day if it wasn't a cloudy, rainy day the day before. Mm-hmm. And so what a great way to view the tough times that we've been through, right?
Yeah.
We know that on the other side of the tough times, that it's like, the opposite and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that.
And it takes an experienced person to be able to get to a place where some shit goes down and they go, oh, what am I about to learn? I'm going to just be in the swamp. I'm just going to be in the dark forest for a while. I know I need to be. I don't know what I'm going to learn, but I know I need to be here for a while. But I know if I face it, if I do the shadow work, if I look at it, I know what's on the other side, because I've experienced this before, where I was in contrast and I faced it and I dealt with it and I just said yes to it and I learned something. And on the other side, it was incredible. I felt so free because I wasn't resisting it. I wasn't ignoring it. I wasn't denying it. I know the only way out is through. And so the next time something comes up, we go, oh, look at this interesting opportunity. It fucking sucks for a little while, but I know that if I keep at it, things are going to move. I know that energy will shift, because that's just what energy does. And that brings such a lightness to the inevitable contrast that we're always going to experience, because we're living on this planet with other people, right? Isn't that the thing? It'd be so much easier if I weren't living with other people, because they're reflecting back to us. And so being able to tune in and remember that, man, even this really horrible tragedy that happened to me got me to this other place where I'm now in a position to help other people, where I now know myself more than ever before, where I'm no longer in that terrible relationship, where I am no longer, resisting the attention my body is asking for, right? That once we face things, then the healing can begin, and we make space for so much more light. And so each one is a level up, a level up, a level up, a level up. And yeah, if you're able to get to the place where you can have that perspective, it makes everything a lot easier. But it takes a while to get there.
Yeah, I know that for myself. When I was with this last one going through, it was like a long time. It was like, I'm like, okay, already.
Yeah.
But knowing that there is that other side, and I've had that experience, coming through, and how great that feels when you do bust through on the other side. It's really something.
Yeah.
It's worth doing whatever the work is. I mean, I don't think you have a choice.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to just mow through it. I mean, some people check out, but I don't know. What I understand is you just got to come back and do it again then. So what's the point of that?
Yep. I mean, I like Earth, but I'm ready. I'm ready to wrap things up and not have to come back to Earth. And when people joke about that, I don't want to come back to Earth again. It's like, all right, well, then you better deal with your shit. You better learn to love Earth, because until you love Earth and until you love humanity, you're going to keep coming back and doing it again, right? When you get to a place where you are so overjoyed at the beauty of this planet and the complexities of the human spirit and the kindness and the generosity that exists in people, when you get to that place and you're also able to hold space for everybody being in the space that they are, doing their best with the circumstances that they have, that's when all your guides go, all right, they're ready. You can go do one more lifetime in the 10th dimension, and then you can retire and go home, right? And the only way to do that is to face whatever your dark is. Face whatever voice you hear that says you're not good enough, you can't do it, you'll never be anything, right? Until you face down that voice and you go, you're lying to me, and you find your practices that help you feel more peaceful, more loving, then you start to get promoted a lot faster out of this karmic experience.
So if someone wants to connect with you, what do they look at? Like, they're going to do something over Zoom with you. What does that look like? Is it like just a 1 hour thing, or is it, do you have like a program that you do?
I do. I have both. I do have one-off Akashic healing and energy channeling sessions. I have discounts for people if they want to do weekly sessions with me. And then I have a 3-month psychic development mentorship, which is my favorite way to work with people, where we'll meet weekly for 3 weeks, and then I'll do a distance healing session. We keep in touch on Voxer, because the most surprising thing to me when I started this work was, as I was working with people long term, their psychic abilities were just opening up naturally. Because again, that's our natural state of being. And as we're balancing the energy, we're making positive changes in our lives, we're clearing away Akashic trauma, all of a sudden we just become more intuitive, and everything just becomes more exciting and magical, and miracles happen. So I have this 3-month container, and it's been so exciting to see people who go through it. They make these massive changes in just 3 months, and then things just continue to roll after that. We create such momentum in that space that in the next year, they're still doing things and finding things and covering things, attracting things. But so I have those 3 tiers of ways to work with people. And then I have digital products I sell. I have a meetup group as well that I do online things. So they have lots of different tiers for people to work with me. But my one-on-one sessions are really, really where the juice happens. So if people are called to this work, I would highly recommend starting with one of those, because it's pretty remarkable what happens in what we can do in 60 minutes on a Zoom session.
Awesome. Sounds cool. Sounds really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, is there anything else that you want to share?
Just to anybody who's listening, the most important thing, no matter where you are on your journey, is to carve out time of quiet for yourself, and to carve out time of stillness, whatever that looks like. Something, we're so used to going at such a fast pace all the time, but you can't manifest, you can't hear your guides, you can't hear your body if you don't carve out sacred space for yourself. And so even if that's just looking at a candle for a couple minutes, again, getting outside is the best way to do it. But giving yourself permission to say no to something over here, or to make a different choice over here, that is the beginning of all of this. If, what we're saying sounds too far away from your experience, it just starts with moments of quiet and really listening to what your body and your spirit are asking for. And so just explore giving yourself permission to try and see what happens with that. That's where I would just leave it.
Yeah, it's so important. We're so busy and we're running to the next thing and this and that. And yeah, I think that first thing in the morning, before the mind starts rolling, and just, setting that intention for yourself, just even if I'm just going to have a great day, I'd like to have some fun experiences, and just something real simple even, right? Start with that, and then check in at the end of the day and how that happened.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm.
But I know even for myself, just stopping sometimes, because I get going and then there's kids and there's this and there's that. And I I just noticed such a huge difference in my day when I forget just to take time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like you say,
Intention is everything.
even if it's a few moments, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
huge. Checking inside. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was awesome chatting with you today.
Thank you. I have loved this.
Yeah. Yeah. You're amazing. Really.
Oh.
I haven't really shared with anybody on a podcast quite like yourself. So it was really, really great information. And yeah, I'd like to catch up with you again down the road.
I would love that. Thank you for this beautiful platform and for your space and your energy. And this has just been a joy. So I'm so grateful.
Thank you. Thanks for hanging out and learning with me about how we can become the best version of ourselves. See you next time.